Hello everyone, welcome back to the new episode of my tutorial series on software development. In the previous episode, we have successfully created business logic layer, that is getter and setter, for our user module. In this episode, we will create data access layer which will contain CRUD operations like insert, update, delete, select, etc. So without further delay, let's move to our tutorial. First of all, let's start our application. Then go to Solution Explorer and go to project, that is any store for me. So here we need to create another folder for our data access layer. So just right click on your project and click on add and new folder. So I will name it DAL, data access layer. So we will need to add an item in our data access layer. So just right click on DAL folder and add a new item. This time we will select class and name it user DAL and press enter or click on add. So we have created a user DAL inside our DAL folder. First of all, we will create a static string method which we will use later for our database connection. So just type static string, my connection string is equal to configuration manager dot connection strings bracket constrng. This is the connection string we created inside our app.config file. Then dot connection string. So this is it, at last semicolon. So don't worry about this error, just hover over it and show potential fixes. So we do not have potential fixes for this. For this we need to go to Solution Explorer and inside references we need to add, just right click on references and click on add reference. Here we need to add reference. So just search for configuration manager. So we will just check the system.configuration and click on OK. So we have successfully added a reference called system.configuration in our references folder. Now just hover over the error and click on show potential fixes and we will select the using system.configuration option. So our error is gone. So another step is to create a method to select data from database. So I will create a region for this region. This will just make a block of that specific method as region. Select data from database and I will end this region as end region, and inside the region we will create a method, data table method, to select data from database and store in our data table. So type pu public data table select. Just don't worry about the errors right now. First we will fix this error. Just hover over the data table and show potential fixes and select using system.data. So our error is gone for now, but we still have an error on our select name. So this will be fixed later. Let's create a database connection. So for this, type SQL connection con equals new SQL connection. Inside this we will pass the static string method, that is my connection string. Just copy this and paste inside it and hover over the SQL connection and click on show potential fixes and select the first option, that is using system.data.sql client. So it fixed the error. Then create a data table dt equals to new data table. Data table is a temporary table that will store the data from database Now we will create a try catch block. Try, then catch exception ex, and finally in try block we will write the code to select the data from database and store in our data table. So first of all we will write a query for this. String SQL is equals to select asterisk from users tbl underscore users. I think tbl underscore users is the name of our table. Let's check if tbl users is the name of our table or not. Go to tables. Yes, our name is tbl underscore users, so we'll just write the select statement to get all the data from our database. Then we need to create SQL command, new SQL command using SQL and con. I think I should make it double N for better understanding. Then create a SQL data adapter. Adapter is equals to new data adapter cmd. This will get all the data from database using cmd. Then we will open the connection of our database. Con.open. This opens the database connection. Then adapter.fill.dt, not dot, just inside the parenthesis type dt. So first we write the query to select all the data from database, then create a SQL command using that SQL query and connection. Then we get data using SQL data adapter from our database and fill and open the database connection and fill all the data that is held in adapter inside our dt, that is data table. So data table has all the data from database. So this is it in our try block. In catch block we will throw message if there is any error. For this we will type message box dot show ax dot message. Just hover over the message box and show potential fixes using system.windows.form. So this will throw out any message if there is any error in our code. And finally we will close the database connection, that is connection dot close. At last we need to return our dt. dt holds all the data from database, so just type return dt. This is it. So we have successfully created a method to select data from database. So I'll just write the functionality of each and every code inside a comment. So database data table hold the data from database query to get data from base, then command, then data from database, then database connection open, fill data in our data table, through message if any error occurs, connection close. function. Finally, return the value in data table. So this is it. I think this will be clear for you to understand. So we have successfully created a method to select data from our database. So I will just minimize this region. Just click on this. So this is the region to create a region. So I think you will understand. So I will create another region to insert data in our database. As region, insert data in database as end region. So inside the region I will create a method to insert data in our database. For this I will create a boolean type method. So public bool insert, then user bll u. So just hover over the user bll and click on show potential fixes, and using any store.bll select this option. So the error is fixed. For this we will fix it later. This boolean type method requires value to be returned. So this is showing the error. For this we will create a boolean variable and set its default value to false. So type bool is success is equals to false, and we will return this value, return is success. So this fixes the error. Between this declaring is success boolean value and return success, we will write code to insert data in our database. For this we will need to create a connection first. So SQL connection con is equals to new SQL connection, then my connection string. So this will connect database. This will help to connect our database in our application. Then we'll start our try catch block. So try, then catch exception AX, then finally. So we'll start with try block. In try block, first of all we'll write a query to insert data in our database. String al is equals to insert into underscore users. So let's see our column inside the table users. So we have first name, last name, email, username, password. So I will start from the first name. So first one is first underscore name, then last underscore name, then email, then username, then password. Let's see once again. First name, last name, email, username, password, contact address, gender, contact address, gender, contact address, gender, then user type, added and added by, then user type, added underscore date and added underscore by, and then values. So I will just, then for values I will just select all of these, Control C, copy, and just space and open the parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis I will paste all this, that is first name, last name, email, username, all of this. So and before each of them I will insert at the rate. I will show you later the reason behind using at the rate. One last at the rate. So after the values everyone has at the rate, but before the values we don't have any at the rate sign. So go to the next line, and here we will create SQL command. SQL command using SQL and con. Next we will add a parameters which will contain values, and we will pass that value inside each one of these. So for this we will type cmd dot parameter dot add with value, then at the rate first name u dot first name. So here that u dot first name, the value inside u dot first name will be passed in at the rate parameter at the rate first name, and this at the rate first name is same as at the rate first name. So the value contained in this at the rate first name will be passed to this at the rate first name. So we need to create parameters for all of our properties, that is first name, last name, email, username, password, contact address, gender, user type, added date, and added by. So let's create this cmd dot parameter dot add with value at the rate last name, then u dot last name. Then I'll just copy and paste all of this. Just copy this and paste, Ctrl V for multiple times. Then I'll change this element only, email, username, then password, then contact, then address, then gender, then again paste gender. After gender we have user type, so user type, then then added date, and the last one is added by. So we have successfully created parameters for all of our columns in database. So let's open our connection to the database. Connection dot open. Then we will create a integer type variable which will hold the code to execute the query, and if the query is executed successfully, then the integer variable will hold the value greater than 0. If the execution is failed, then it will hold the value less than 0. For this, int rows is equals to cmd dot execute non-query. So this code will execute the query, and if the query is executed, then the value of rows will be greater than 0, else it will be less than 0. So let's check. If rows is greater than 0, that means successful, else query is failed. So if the query is successful, then we will change the value of is success to true, else the is success will be false. Is success is equal to false. So inside the exception we will write message box dot show ex dot so it will throw a message if any error occurs in our code. So at last we will close the connection dot close. So we have successfully created a method to insert data in our database. So let's create another method to update data in our database. So I'll create another region as region update data in database, and as in region, inside this region we will create a method to update database. So we'll create a boolean type method for this, public bool update. Then inside this we will use user BLLU. Then we need to declare a boolean type variable and set its default value to false. So bool is success is equals to false, and then return this value is success. So between these we will create a database connection first, that is SQL connection con is equals to new SQL connection, my connection string. Then start our try catch block, try catch exception ex. Then finally, so inside the try catch block, first of all we'll write a query to update our database. So this will be string SQL is equals to update tbl underscore users, then set first underscore name is equals to first underscore name, then underscore name is equals to last underscore name. I think I will use the easier way, that is copying all of these from insert query up to added by, from first name to added by, and copy, and I'll paste after set, Control V, and from here I will start adding equal to and name. Similarly for last name, equal to name. For email is equal to email. For username is equal to username. For password is equal to password. Similarly for contact is equal to contact, and address is equal to address, and for gender is equal to gender. For user type is equal to user p type. For added date is equal to added date, and similarly for added by is equals to underscore by. So we need to add this for our query. This is the query to update data from database, and at the last we need to add where user underscore id is equals to user underscore id. We need to specify which user to update, so we'll use where keyword. So this is the query to update data in our database. So next we will create a SQL command to pass the parameters. So SQL command cmd is equals to new SQL command using SQL and connection. So as we made parameters above, we will also have to create parameters here. So I'll just copy all the parameters from insert method, that is from first name to added by copy all of this, copy and paste below SQL command in update method, Ctrl V. And one thing we need to add more here, that is user ID. So cmd dot parameters dot add with value @ user underscore ID u dot id. We have ID only, so we don't need this. I will just delete user underscore, so I'll only use ID. So in our query we need to make changes at last, so go to the last and delete user underscore and user underscore. So we will have where ID equals to ID. So don't forget to make this change, where ID equals to ID. So then let's create a database connection open. For this, connection dot open, and then create a integer type variable which will hold the code to execute the query, that is int rows is equals to cmd dot execute non query. So if rows is greater than 0, then query is successful, else query failed. If query is successful, then we will set the value of each subject to true. If failed, then the value of each success will be false. So in catch we will type message box dot show ex dot, so it will show message if any error occurs. So finally we will close the connection. So this is success holds the value of true or false. If the query is executed successfully, then this value will be true, else the value will be false. So we have successfully created a method to update our data in our user module. So similarly we will create another method to delete data from database. Let's create another region, delete data from database, and in region. So this will also be a boolean type method. So public bool delete user blu, and then we will need to declare a boolean variable, bool is success, and set its value to false and return this value. And between this we will create a SQL connection to connect database, that is SQL connection con is equals to new SQL connection, my connection is string. So then we will start our try catch block, try catch, and then finally, then first of all we will write a query to delete data from database, is equals to delete from tbl underscore users where id equals to @id. So this is the query to delete the data from database. Now create a SQL command using SQL and con. Then we need to create a parameter to pass value in id. So for this, cmd dot parameters dot add with value. For now we have only one parameter, so id u dot id. So this is it. Now we will open the connection for our database, connection dot open, then create a integer type variable which holds the code to execute the query. cmd dot execute non-query. If the value of rows is greater than 0, then successful, else query failed. If query is successful, then the value of each success will be true, else the value of each success will be false. And inside our catch block, we will throw message box. We haven't inside catch, forgot to write exception, so ax dot message. So this will throw a message if any error occurs. So finally we will close the connection to database. Connection dot, so this will close the connection. So we have successfully created a method to delete data from database. So in this data access layer for user module, we have created 4 methods that are selecting data from database, inserting data from database, updating data in our database, and deleting data in our database. Depending on condition, we might need to add another method in our data access layer for user module. So this is it for today. If you like this video, don't forget to like and share. If you have confusion related to this video, then don't forget to comment. I will reply as soon as possible. If you want to see more videos like this, then don't forget to subscribe and click on bell icon. In the next episode, we will add actual functionality to our user module. So till then, see you soon. Bye bye.